Morning, it's Jim. It's Sunday morning, November 24th. It's out in the shop here at just after 7 a.m. Buddy brought me in a Stihl BR600. We'll show you what's going on. Kind of a chronic thing with these. Okay, so we actually went through this thing together yesterday when he brought it in. I tore it right down. Stuck it back together and figured we'd see if it was going to run, but we'll go through it. They're not the easiest for either maintenance or even just getting at, but anyway, the common issues with them if they're hard to start. So these are a 4-mix. It's kind of a hybrid of a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke. So these ones actually have valves. So if you're finding they're hard to start, usually it's a valve adjustment that's needed. Your air filter is buried in on this side, and if this housing cracks, you're sucking in dirt because that's the clean air side of your filter. So make sure you either replace that cover or tape it up or something. If this gets cracked, it's sucking dirty air right through from the outside, and this is the side of the filter that's supposed to have the clean air. We just got to pull our starter off. So basically, he said it was running. It's less than a 2-year-old machine. I kind of did a bunch of research, and they've actually changed some of their cylinder design, but they've still got the same issue with it. It's the way they built their connecting rod. That bearing does not end up with, or there is no bearing in it. So unlike a traditional wrist pin, and your connecting rod rolls around with this bearing, this system they use doesn't have that. So let's see here. Other issues with them quite often is the spark screen on the muffler will get plugged. So that restricts your exhaust flow. That's not what the issue is with this one. It's the fact that the piston won't actually turn up and down in the cylinder. So that's where we're at with it. So it's just going to basically be a big disassembly here. This one's got a little bit of leakage from the pan here. These are kind of a clamshell design engine, and so they just seem to use a goo seal in here that with the vibrations and whatever, these bolts do loosen off, and you can end up actually sucking air in there once the bolts back off enough. So that's something else to kind of check on. If you're getting some oil buildup in that area, then think about that. I'll end up running around after we're done here and picking up any of the other bolts and stuff that are laying around on the ground. Anyway, you guys aren't going to see quite as much as I am, and I'm trying not to dump everything else off the bench here. But so with these ones, your air is sucked in through here and around this side of the filter, and then the dirty particles are trapped there. So then on this side, it's drawn clean air through. But like I was saying, if that housing ends up busted, then you'll pull clean air directly into, or dirty air directly into the engine. I guess I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning. Anyway, continue on with our disassembly. It's a bit of a process with these ones to get at stuff, because to actually remove what we're after, we've got to pull the fan assembly all apart as well to get in there. If you guys are using these in the winter, there's this little flap here that you'll want to switch over to that position. Oh. And that way you're drawing warm air in off the cylinder in the winter to help prevent your carburetor from icing up. So remember that to switch seasonally. Out here, a lot of guys use these for snow removal, so that's why you'd run that way. I'm just gonna jump ahead a little bit. I think I'll pause you guys and get some of the basic stuff out of the way. We'll dump the bit of gas that's left, and we'll get going here. Okay, we're back. Dump the fuel out. To get where I need to be, pulled the pipe off it as well. Got the 4 bolts to disconnect the harness and backpack part of the actual motor assembly there. Just remember, as you're messing around where the recoil starter is, they've got these 3 bushings in here. Like I said, this one isn't that old, so they haven't vibrated loose, but it's kind of a problem with these as well. So they're actually a spacer there. What'll happen if you miss it, or if it wears through, sometimes as you disassemble or reassemble it, those metal bushings can actually get caught between the flywheel and the magnet on the ignition. So just keep an eye out for that, so that you don't end up inadvertently creating an issue as well. And this is actually the newer cylinder assembly on this one. The older ones didn't have the cooling fins over top, and they've also added some webbing in here to support some of the mounts. So like I said, it is quite a new unit. Okay, then to actually remove the engine portion from the blower, there's one big nut here that we need to pop loose as well. If you look really close in there, there's a arrow that shows the direction to turn it, so it's a regular direction, lefty loosey. What I'm gonna do is try and block the flywheel. I'm just gonna pause you guys here for a sec. All right, so I held the assembly in the bench vise here, just by the flywheel. It's kind of a funky shape, but the vice jaws hold that good. But you do need to have a piston stop. So what I would prefer to do is use like a recoil rope, starter rope in there. Just make sure your piston is down about 1/4 of the way, and then feed that in. And you can use a 17-inch nut on a breaker bar, or sorry, socket on a breaker bar for the nut on the clutch side. It is a clutch assembly, so you can't just have your flywheel there and think you're going to be able to spin this off, because that won't work. It does continue to spin, but with the rope in there and then just one good snap, and you'll get that. I think you get that guy. And then that whole fan and nut continue to move there. I think I gotta finish splitting this up, so we'll just be back in a second. Yeah, I missed one of the screws to get the other half of the shroud off. Anyways, so yeah, we'll pull that guy out. That gets rid of that. And these guys off. And then and then we should be able to separate the. Come on now. Oh, there she goes. There we go. Yeah. This thing was all pretty covered in snow yesterday when it came in, so it's melted off overnight, so it's all over the bench here now. Okay. So this starting to free up a little bit, it seems like, compared to yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it's that bushing over the wrist pin. I started pricing them out this morning. Of course, up in Canada here, our postal workers decided to take a holiday and want a bunch more money, even though they're costing us billions of dollars a year. Yeah, so that's what it is. So these don't get enough lubrication. You can see how hot this sucker gets, eh? And so they didn't drill any ports out in this to actually help it. And it's just a little metal sleeve that rides on. I'll pull that apart and we'll look at it. Try and show you here. So you'll see my rope in here that I used for my piston stop. That's how you want that to work. Otherwise, you're putting all that force on top of your piston. If you just use, even if I used my my brass piston stop, it would put all that force onto one small spot on top of the piston. That wouldn't be good. That doesn't look very good either. But anyways, pretty lucky here. So there's only a very light scoring on the piston. So hopefully at worst it would be replacing the piston. I'm pretty sure that what I can feel inside the actual cylinder, yeah, I don't feel any scoring or scuffs in there. So man, that guy's lucky. Yeah, really lucky. I'm gonna have to use the hydraulic press to push this guy out though, and then I'll show you what the guts are. Okay, so here we're set up in the press. It's a 12-tonner. Trying to make sure that there's no excessive force on this side. Just basically supporting, and then the actual force is straight through from the press. I'm using a little heavier wrist pin that's not as large in diameter, and then just a socket on this side, basically trying to rest all the way around the side of the piston. So anyways, I'm gonna pause you. Got my face shield on to try and make sure I got both eyes when I'm done. So we'll see you in a minute. Just got called in for breakfast, so I'm trying to finish up here. So there's a bushing inside, kind of bronze bushing or something there. And there's our wrist pin. So yeah, instead of it actually being on a proper bearing, there's a lack of lubrication that occurs there. They've got this is basically a press fit both ways, and no oil port or anything here. So it's really a shitty setup.